All right, we're live. We got everything figured out. Um, all right, so uh, welcome everybody to another week of the live virtual poetry reading series. Um, we have another great lineup of poets, writers, and I just want to say before we get started, thank you all for supporting the Indigenous People's Art Gallery and Cafe. Thank you to all the people who are submitting work to the Red Excellence Anthology Project. Um, join the Red Excellence movement. Submit your work, poetry. We got a few submissions, and I'm really excited about that. So, if you check out the Facebook Indigenous People's Art Gallery and Cafe, you'll see the information there. So thank you all for submitting. Also, check out Dapian Apparel for your Red Excellence T-shirts. We got T-shirts on there, and just I just want to say a big shout out to all the people who've been a part of this, who supported the live virtual poetry reading series. All the artists and poets that have came on the past couple weeks, and the artists that are coming on in the future shows, writers, poets. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Everybody out there who's been supporting, thank you for just everything that you've done for this idea and this vision that I have, that I've been working on. So, you know, um, continue to support, continue to share the videos, continue to share the artists that come on. We try to share their work, everything they're doing. So continue to support them as well. So with that, I want to say thank you for tuning in tonight. And, we've got some really great stuff coming. So with that, I want to get the show started, and we will have our first artist poet come on.
Betuashte or Happy wherever you're from. Good afternoon or good evening. Ptesaya Machiapi, Pejitahak Matahana Elwati. My name is Ptesawi, and I'm from the Medicine Root District on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I am in Oglala Lakota, and I'm a poet. So I write a lot of poetry. I've been writing since I was 14. I've been writing since I was 12, but I started performing at 14 at the Lakota Nation Invitational Poetry Slam. But yeah, I'll be reading some poems. I have an array of poetry. I write a lot of mental health related poems, a lot of advocacy. Lately, it's just been a lot of mental health related poems. But yeah, I'm happy to be here and I'm excited to um, kind of, open and be vulnerable and show you guys like the art that I do. Um, I have like a good handful, but it's not too much of poems. So the first poem I'll be reading is titled Metamorphosis. I like to think that caterpillars are terrified of their changing, holding their breath and counting to 10, words of encouragement that everything will be all right and we are exactly where we're supposed to be. Do you think they think it's the end? And what about their beliefs? The truth is, caterpillars remind me of me, the silent fear of their transformations. It's all so natural, yet everything is suffocating, but it's their fragility that gives them strength. I like to think that they look at their cocoons and say, thank you for getting me to where I am today. I wouldn't have done it without you. I wonder if they hate their old skin, their old homes that allowed them to experience life. I wonder if they hate their old selves and how they made peace with the oblivion. No one ever asks them to change. If they're excited for tomorrow or still holding on to the leaves from yesterday, caterpillars turn into butterflies. I'm told I'm the butterfly, but I feel like I'm still in the cocoon. My identity is still forming, and I'm still unknowingly in the goop. I found the abandoned hopes and dreams of yesterday. Thank you. That was Metamorphosis. This next one is titled Breathe. It's, I was going to give a disclaimer, but There's no disclaimer. There's so much in life we forget about. We forget to stop, feel, and just see. No thinking, no questioning, just seeing and feeling. Whether it be the snow, the snowflakes, those fluffy ice crystals grasping each other so tightly, graciously descending, watching the rising sun, the hue of color from midnight blue and deep, deep purple to an ever-changing shade of gray blue, making its transition into its brightest form. The light that surrounds us, the physical emotions of the sky, ground, atmosphere, they too are forever collapsing, forever being eaten by their chaos. They do not let it consume them. For every destruction they meet, they consent. Whether the darkest of nights are madly in love with its depths, it always makes room for itself to breathe. When the sky gently cries its softest tears, screams its loudest roar, so loud we feel the collapsing beneath our feet. Sometimes when we ourselves are collapsing, when we are being swallowed by our chaos, falling madly in love with our depths, we forget to breathe. We forget to feel even when all we can think of is that. Our veins are the roots to our system. Like a tree, we are forever growing. Layer by layer of bark we create is not a shield, but each undying moment we've broken down into our purest of forms. Each layer of skin, each texture of pain we've created subconsciously, like trees, we too have layers at our core. Layers we've built of each collapse, each breath we forgot to take. When the rivers meet an obstacle, it does not give up flowing. It keeps pushing, pushing until its obstacle is submerged, refusing to build up its frustration. We forget to keep pushing. We are not our faults or imperfections, nor are we our successes or achievements. Why must we be so focused on who we are? Our identity is without us, surrounding us with every rising sun and setting, right, with every rising moon and setting sun. Sun and moon pay little attention to their faults, to their successes. They are more focused on loving each other so selflessly, giving each other a chance to just breathe. As fire meets Mother Earth, we only see destruction, the swallowing of something beautiful. Fire is beautiful. It helps remind us of our destruction and how it must be acknowledged. Mother Earth is left black, charcoal of the past, yet she never lets it define her, always growing greener, learning from what the pain taught her. As the sky awakens from its amnesia of silent breakage, they remind us to also awaken from our amnesia of drowsy wanders, the amnesia of temporary death. We forget to breathe, to feel, and only see. Thankfully, the intensity of steady change, the nature of our world helps do its best to remind us to do just that. Breathe. Thank you. That was Breathe. Um, I'm also gonna give a disclaimer for one of the poems that I'm going to read. It's, I guess, trigger warning. It's kind of just like about depression, and it's called Winter. Snow fell from a dimly starlit sky. The air was so still and there was no sound. Snow crinkled beneath my feet, a yard light igniting the stretch of vision, exposing paw prints and oblivion. Peace fell over me as I stared into gray skies that remind me of what I feel like on the inside. Soft flurries of snow carefully landed against my face. One gently lands on my lips and melts away. Like a lingering kiss, I taste the memories and leaving with no trace, laughter plays hide and seek in the edges of a snowflake. Winter reminds me of endings and the rotting. To rot means to rest, and I wonder who convinced us our productivity equated our value as a human. I wonder when rotting became a bad thing. What's so wrong with letting your soul decay? Decompose to my bed, my brain cells evaporate, and I've let the maggots eat at the illness left in my brain, let the sunshine glitter against the bones and skin tissue that I've grown to hate. So let me rot and freeze into the snow. Let my body know what it feels like to rediscover fossilized memories because when I am able to rot, I am able to remember more than just the casualties, breathe life into the flowers blooming from my lungs, and plant the seeds for all my star-kissed dreams. Thank you. This next one is called They're So Lovely. These I have three of them that are kind of like about me. So, um, yeah, this next one is I'll actually read Happy Birthday because yeah, this one's called Happy Birthday, and the next one I'll be reading is called They're So Lovely. I tend to wait till 1:16 a.m. to say I'm a year older. The very time I was birthed into this world, the very moment my lungs gripped onto oxygen and my wails filled a room full of strangers. I was told before I was born, a medicine man seen me and said how healthy I'd be. I often wish I could recall the memory when we met, before I knew what this world had to offer, before I knew anything other than the womb. I held on to that warm darkness. As each year passed, the more I gained insight of what of what this world is, and curiosity of who I'll mold into each year. From traumas and personal growth, an endless game of ping pong, with every birthday song sung, the following laughter, my nicknames gifted by each friend and family, I ponder the question, what am I wishing for? Blowing out candles on a cake, wishing upon each burning stick, and living in a moment where all eyes fall upon you. I've lived a large portion of my life wishing I had stayed within that warm darkness because it slowly became cold. The shadows breathe on my skin, leave frostbitten scars, claw marks left on my tongue, and when did I become so ruthless? Inhale, exhale, flames flicker in the abyss, negative space becomes transparent, and the clapping from hands that once held my fragile body fade in the distance. Most people wait for midnight to wish a happy birthday. But what if the birthday isn't happy and I'm left confused why I'm so cold? I was given life, yet so many times I've tried to take it. My own hands have held razor blades to my wrists, carefully tying a noose, and the crevices of my palm danced alongside loose pills. My brain programmed itself to view this day as ordinary, purposely forgetting this was the very moment my life began. There's this desperation in being told, I'm glad you were given life, but disregarding every word because surely are you truly glad? I've spent my adolescence planning my deadline, meticulously drawing out each step, start to finish, the in-betweens, and what if I'm brought back? I was strategic enough to make it inevitable. Yet my spirit is greater than my own mind. Now I seek refuge in the cold darkness, befriending each misunderstood ghost from my childhood, comforting the raging pain from my teen years. The constant thumping ping pong balls echo in the Dern caves, cries from unhealed traumas and laughter from healed ones. I was reborn. I was born and reborn countless times each year past, only growing wiser, never stagnating, only rebuilding, never deconstructing. When you walk your days, questioning whether or not you deserve the life you live, you waste away precious moments in time that never goes backwards, only forward. It truly is a strange feeling to dedicate one day to celebrate your life. So may this be a reminder that your life is cherished by your spirit and body, doing everything they can so we can see another sunset, sleepily gaze into a sunrise, conversate with the stars, and ask the trees to tell stories of the rivers and stones. Celebrate your life every day, because every day of your life deserves to be treated with the most absolute care. And we are human. Feelings become messy, and our minds turn to fog infested. Take a deep breath. It's a day, a night, and you will persevere. Happy birthday. Okay, this one is called They're So Lovely, and then I have one environmental one, and then one about me again. At first glance, you spot a wave of blue, and the sound the current makes when the ocean tide takes a step back for the trees to breathe. The tree roots are where my stories explore, and they explored the river streams and made friends with the four-legged and the winged. My stories sit with the chokecherry and plum bushes, listening to their songs about the rain. They laugh with with gratitude for the clouds, and the clouds remind me of the ocean tide. Although salty waters are foreign to me, the sand finds its way to my feet, and the ocean leaves kisses on my cheek. My stories leave footprints in the Great Plains with Abdel Oyate. They reminisce on the battles I've lived through and how I've learned the names of the shadows in the night. At first glance, I'd hope my presence is warm, like the sun on a partially cloudy day, or calming and ethereal like the smell of rain. My stories are quiet and loud. Depending on which path you travel down, you will laugh and you will cry. You'll learn how the shadows and I first met and how long it's taken for us to be friends. My stories exist not just in words, but in memories. If you listen not with your ears, but with your heart, you can hear the prayers of my ancestors and the beating of the drums in the thunder and wind. My stories are still being written. They have yet to explore the trenches and the gardens where the berries of my planted dreams grow. I hope my spirit dances with the stars when my time comes. Until then, my stories will grow with the planted hopes and dreams. I'll have so much to reflect on in this life as I lay to rest in the Milky Way, and I hope the sea remembers me. This one is called My Book, and the final one is called A Love Letter to the Land. Everyone asks, "Where's the book?" As if they're not staring directly at one. As if my skin isn't etched in the words from my past, stories live in my bone marrow, and the plot only thickens as I grow closer to my timestamp. My body is the book your hands will never have the honor to hold, and the scars in my skin are the pages your fingers will never caress. I don't know where the book is that you ask about. I can only help you find the chapters that I've completed and which pages I placed my glory and defeat at, or where the stains from spilled red ink are laid to rest, and in the spine of my dreams is where you'll find me. I'll be sleeping in the threading, counting how many more pages until my epilogue, but the pages never end. I wonder what would happen if I closed the book, left readers in question. Maybe they can write the way my story ends, so I don't have to. Not that I don't want to, I'm just tired of metaphorically writing or what we call living, but just like me and you, I am still learning more about myself too. I'm sorry there's no book for you to keep, to take home for your family, or for you to place on your bookshelf with the rest of other stories. All I have to offer you are my words, time, and all of me that you get to see as I stand in front of you, showing you the chapters that I've complete. And my final one is called A Love Letter to the Land. If you could write a love letter to the land, what would you say? I'm not sure. I don't think words are enough to describe my deep appreciation for all she's done. I guess I'd ask her how she does it. How does she continue to make the trees and flowers grow or allow the sun to rise even after all that has happened to her? I'd ask her for a hug because her resiliency must be tiring. I'd ask her to smudge because when I do, I feel less heavy. And maybe if she does, the stars will sing and the stars will cry to the moon about what it's like to breathe. I'd ask her about the rocks and if she feels as strong as they. I'd ask about the pain and what hurts the most. I'd grab my bundle of cedar and sage, and when I'm done asking, I tell her about my scars and how they still hurt too. I tell her, "Tahitila napilamaya," thank you, and I love you. Thank you. And those are all the poems that I had to share today.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much for all, I could listen to your poems all night, man. Those are really beautiful poems. Um, yeah, for those of you out there, um, you know, dealing with mental health, definitely reach out. Reach out to somebody, your communities. If you know somebody struggling, definitely reach out and help them through that or help them find the help that they need. It's definitely very important that we as Native people, um, deal with those things and in a healthy, positive way, so that we can continue as the beautiful Native people that we are, and heal ourselves and our communities. So thank you for that. Thank you for your beautiful poems. Um, Again, thank you to everybody tuning in and watching. Thank you for supporting the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe. Check out the website at www.indigenousartalliance.org. Um, Thank you for supporting, what we're doing here, but also we have the Red Excellence movement going on. We are looking for writers and poets to submit their work. based on the idea of red excellence, what that means to them, persevering, um, overcoming obstacles that we all go through as Native and Indigenous people. Um, to get to where we are, we want your stories, we want your poems, and submit. There's information out there on the Facebook page, so definitely check that out. And let's inspire each other. Let's uplift each other through our work, through our words, through our stories and our poems. So yeah, let us know what red excellence means to you. So with that, we're gonna get into our second uh, poet for tonight, and so thank you all for tuning in.
Oh my gosh, those poems were so beautiful. I love those images. I love every metaphor. Like, I love these poems. Um, oh, goodness. Okay, so Segulis Wagwag, Kenzie Allen ni Yukyat, Unkwehwat ni Waknyata ni Wagidaloda. Skanat go kat. Oh, Yodihadi. Hello to all of you, my friends. I'm Kenzie Allen. I am a first generation descendant of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin. Our reservation is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So if you've seen a Green Bay Packers game, you've probably seen some of our logos everywhere. I don't think you can be an Oneida person without also being a Green Bay Packers fan. And I'm Turtle Clan of the Haudenosaunee tradition. And I asked, are you with peace? Because we like to reference the great law of peace before we get started with anything to kind of get right with each other. And sometimes it's a hard question to answer as far as peace goes. So I also asked, how is it going along? I hope you all are doing well tonight. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful poetry that we're getting to experience. I have not been writing poetry as long. I started writing poetry in college. But I do have a book coming out in the fall in August 20th. It's called Cloud Missives. It's my first collection of poetry and it's out from Tin House. So you can find links to pre-order it at tinhouse.org. No, sorry, tinhouse.com. I think it's .com. And I should know that. Or at your local bookstore or at major bookstore retailers. But I thought I would read a few poems, mostly poems from Cloud Missives, and a couple other ones that I've been working on for another project. But so without further ado, here is How to Be a Real Indian. And I guess I should give the disclaimer that this is a bit of a facetious poem about how to be a real Indian. This is not actual instructions, if you will. The first time someone asks you how Indian you are, lie. On the blacktop, the soccer field, tell them 100%. Your grandmother lived on the res, or you were born there, hooked up to machines running on bad generators in a bad hospital in a bad part of town. Say you dream in Oneida at night. Show and tell them Rose Rock and Kachina. Give them exactly what they ask for the first time. In the third grade, when your class suggests 10 Little Indians for the Thanksgiving theme, offer to teach them the dances you don't know but should. Swallow hard. Imagine your ancestors, the ones you see each day when you get home from school, staring down at you from the walls of your grandmother's house, draped in their turbans and regalia, Tecumseh, Red Cloud, and imagine their eyes, not sad, but fascinated by the evenness of your buckskin fringe, the wild neon of your store-bought feathers. Sing 10 Little Indians. Fan your hand across your mouth. Say how. The second time someone asks how Indian you are, embellish. If you find out your mother's mother's father was the son of a chief, tell them your mother was a princess. Tell them your mother sang you songs at night while rocking the cradle in her native tongue, but she's forgotten all of it now. Tell them your tribe waits for you, wants to embrace you as one of their own. Tell them you are loved by your tribe. Memorize the names of the 6 nations. You always forget Tuscarora. After all, there is an agency for everything. Call the BIA. Aren't you on the list? Dawes, allotment, can't you find your grandpa? At first, this is a wonderful game. Metoxins and dockstaters, Hills and the occasional Cornelius. No Antones in sight. When you find the man who might have cradled your mother's small head in his hands, you must sniff out the whole line, begat and begat and begat, married, then divorced, then they split up the property and moved to Oklahoma. All the people who passed down the blood you wanted to be rid of, sometimes the blood you wish could multiply. Give them names, tally up their fractions. The third time you're asked how Indian you are, decide it doesn't matter exactly. Say an 1/8, say a 32nd, claim to be Choctaw or Cherokee, claim to be a princess too. Try to explain blood quantum as though trying to find a way to name yourself. Go back to the res. Brenda's gotten clearance to open up a bar just in time for your coming of age. Take your white boyfriend and play pool with him amid a cloud of smoke, where he will chat up the locals, where he will talk about enterprise and fair trade. At the powwow, buy turquoise and the tail of a fox and soft white cowskin for your mother's moccasins. Eat fry bread every day of your life if you can. On the way home, a Chickasaw will sit down next to you on the plane with his hair in 2 black braids and cowrie shells around his leathery neck. Despite eagerness, opportunity, the sudden improbable phenomenon of 2 live Indians on the same plane together at the same time, say nothing. If he says something first, stay quiet, because you aren't just 2 live Indians on the same plane together at the same time. You're 1 Indian and a fraud flying toward Delaware. The 4th time, the 5th time, the 8th time they ask you how Indian you are, your mouth is so heavy. Let it hang open for a moment so the spirits can enter. Let the woman who had your name and died before you were born come into your body and speak the wisdom. Let her grandmother willow you. Let your head hang over the stump of Chief Powhatan, ready to be bludgeoned by your own father for love. Take Maria Tallchief into your limbs, eagle graceful, turtle strong. Try to imagine your own face on the face of a gold coin, the baby on your back as recognizable as the way you point the way, and shut that open mouth. Make its flatness stretch toward centuries of silence. Lead the men down the great river to whatever they seek. This is with 13 moons on your back, and it is in honor of the desert tortoise. There was a really cool anthology that came out a few years ago that people were doing like poems to endangered animals, and I was so stoked that I got the tortoise because we're Turtle Clan. The turtle is really cool because it carries the calendar on its back. The different plates on the turtle's back are the 13 moons. Actually, the different plates around that are the 28 days as well of the moons. So with 13 moons on your back, like tree bark curled into whirlpools of stone, burrowed under earth while the sun burned down and coyote roamed the sand, do we too return each to our burrows in the shivering dark, wear armor as a shelter we can carry? Don't we on your back touch earth? Sometimes, ever so slowly, we learn of the sweetness of cactus fruit, mesquite grass, the arid wind as the sound of an ocean rustling in creosote, what the long-awaited rain can yet resurrect. Coyote watches, he marvels. What small wisdom, your survival, in this rising heat, in this strange home you have made. I'm gonna go with the cool thing. Well, the thing I think is really cool about the book that's coming out is that the last section is all love poems. Because I just am really obsessed with love poems. So the last section is called Love Songs. So I think this is the only love song I had picked out for tonight, but this is one of the love songs. It's called All I Need to Know About Love I Learned from My Fellow Primates. And what you need to know is humans are primates. One. Two, I studied primatology in college, and it was totally my jam. And every fact in this poem is true. Those who study marmosets will tell you, wait just a moment, beyond the rustle of leaves, as one goes by, you can hold your breath, its mate is sure to come after. I never imagined a pairing for life, a call like a favorite song, yet there we are, preening our chosen, on each limb curving from the bough. Behind the glass, or on the park bench, or nestled in the highest place one can reach. TT monkeys, too, pair bond in principle. In respite, they stay close and note the absence of the other. Tails twined together below their branch, as if the body were a hand with one finger, longing to interlock. Alas, for the man of the forest, Pongo pygmaeus, the orang, he travels so often alone. Maybe it's just his way, or the city's encroachment, as power lines cut through the trees. The ringtails with their soot-black masks pile up arboreal and warm in what scientists refer to as lemur balls, the queens surrounded by their harem. There is the way the children are carried dearly by father, mother, perhaps the whole troop. How we and the orange-furred orangs tend little ones the longest. How our teeth are not so different, adaptive and broadly used. Same sensitive mouth, same flipped lips to bear anger or grin. The gorilla who cradled an orphaned kitten all night in his arms. The bonobo who saw her mirror self and shied away. The teenaged chimps throwing kiss and tell parties in the canopy in wild exploration. I've learned to close my eyes halfway to pleasure as furrows are scratched into my back. We all have our little joys, our quickenings to rage, our lairs and what we make room for within. We cleverly co-opt whatever tools might come to hand. We mourn, we cower, we beat our chests. We press our face to the window and try to make out exits or the faces peering back. We search every territory, every meadow's edge, for those who might welcome a bite to the neck. Maybe we delude ourselves that we'll only need the one in a life fraught, a world imperiled, a habitat slowly and quickly reduced to ash. Somewhere in the dark, a man grips his pillow girlfriend hard. A man settles his hand on my thigh like a lithe tail extended, but I turn away for better sleep, only to dream of the closeness of leaves, of the emerald light flickering over hours, fading into a forest shared. And this, yeah, I think I'm going to go with this one. This is from a different section in the book. This is called In Which I Become Pocahontas. And specifically, I mean the 1994 Disney movie Pocahontas, that Pocahontas, like not Mataoka, but Pocahontas TM. What else would I paint with? I was the one singing, after all, who tipped my throat to the blue corn moon, taken with every flash of neon leaves. Each sycamore height begets a swan dive. You putting down your musket for once. A river changes course over decades, but here I am, she is, still finding her delta. Dugout upturned, I've lain down for it, whatever love left me captured. And did I fling myself across that execution for bravery or despair? But the seeds listen better when you speak their name, their creator. You ask me only where to find the gleam for which you came, all this way with dwindling provision. What you seek won't feed you. Is it only our animal companions, our grandmother willows, left here to humanize us? It did no good to say you can't own it with this face. Some never believe a smoke rabbit until it comes to pass. Maybe that lung's catch isn't expansion, but tension, a sudden snap as the system shudders, a prismatic release of the breath you didn't know you were holding for days, which, like me, like all I know, is also a metaphor. You look at me like before contact, like mist still lay between us. I was buried that very first day. Why do I dig myself up again and again? Maybe some things have gone too far now. Pastel winds, those bomb-ass leaves and sketched echoes, ghosts I never thought to become. If not powerless, why this name still on the lips? Why do I still look for faces in every tree? You ask for a glimmer of fortune. Like pillared light, whispering good advice, Corn Sister rises, tall as flagpole or mizzenmast, the exact color of your thirst. We call it maize, I say. I open the husk like a prayer book. I have no other coin to give. I rise to my feet, kiss her leaves. No medal, no discovery, sustenance, nothing of your desire. But isn't it also gold? Doesn't it also shine? And I like to write a lot in forms as well, but like kind of where the form informs the context of the poem. So this is a series that I've been working on for another book that is taking, so it's a lipogram, and a lipogram is a type of poem that limits the letters that you use in the poem. Like normally you would not write anything with the letter E in it or something like that. In this case, the lipogram constraint is that I'm only writing using the 13 letters that are shared between Oneida language and Romanized Oneida language and English. There's actually a couple of letters in Oneida language that just don't occur in English at all. So this is the 13 letters that do. This is called Even the Word Extinction Can't Be Written in Oneida. Talon to talon, the henhouse sinks, lest the atoll lessen you, nestle you. Token unknowns lay slain in heat, the hawk, a husk, the swan, a swathe. Telltale wheat, at least, enlists an ask we hustle to instill. Keen to kneel within thistles, we tunnel shale into oil wells, into noise, into silt lean-tos. I was a hailstone, nautilus. I was a netless heist. No illusion, no keyhole, only an easel at stake. Yet I outstay the swallowtails. I take. I shall not atone. Lieutenant to that tenant, I lathe the lake, leonine, alone. And let me see where I'm at. I feel like I've been writing really long poems lately, so I'm like very tempted on this other poem, but I think I'll just read my last poem here, which is also in the book. I'm really excited about this one. It's called Elegy Against Elegy. And the idea behind it is that a lot of the time, like for a while there, I would go to like poetry readings, or I would see like, I'll be honest, particularly in Canada, you see these kinds of poems that are about like, oh, like the Native Americans dead and gone, like super sad elegy about these people that like clearly aren't here in the audience to hear my poem. And we're like, hi, we're here, we're alive. So this is an elegy against that kind of elegy. Elegy against elegy. What I've given up has walked my path alongside me, marking time, footfall, drumbeat. We say he's walked on, far beyond death, and we wish him good spirits, good journey. Let me walk on when I walk on. This is an elegy against elegy, a song against the song of our demise. Let go the need for ghosts as memory, kept behind glass, quicksilvered, remembered, even standing before you. We are not dead and gone. This is an elegy against lamentation, which we know will succeed only by its nature, where what's lost can be lost again and not returned, not in the light of day, not in the light you take with you. But those who have left me so much. They are walking on. I walk among all our relations, the hooved ones and the flying ones, and the ones who swim into cool, deep waters, and the ones who blanket the grasses in their multitudes, who carry their children's children even in the womb of their mothers. I walk among the garden where our sisters' fruits nourish us. They wrap their arms around any trellis, or stand straight and tall, or creep along the ground with their gourds, their treasures, which last months and months in the bitter cold. Marvel at this miracle. Petroglyphs survive thousands of years of weather and point the way past dangerous rapids. Painted water monster as more than story, a teaching. Extinction is not an Indigenous word. This story goes on. Though he may crackle the ground in his growing regard, I walk under brother sun's light. He crosses oceans, kisses each edge of sky endless. As grandmother moon drenches the world in silver, she shapes every shoreline as she goes along. I welcome her into my body. I leave out a plate for my ancestors. I ask their advice in dreams. Once, my grandmother came to me and said in a voice warm and alive, "What will you give back?" You mourn her passing long before she's gone. She who raised you up from her own clay and loam, her skirts which cover your fields in green pastures. She is still here to be loved. Her song as gentle, enduring wind, carrying each seed to new beginnings. This is an elegy against elegy. This is a celebration. Somewhere in a field, the bones dropped lightly to earth after every rainfall. The sweetgrass bloomed for miles. Thank you. Yowanko. Thank you so much, Dawson, and Pate Sanwi. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much for your beautiful poems. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, both of you. Man, I really look forward to these poetry readings every Wednesday. I never know what to expect, but I'm just always like at a loss for words when it's over, because I could just sit here all night and listen to all of these beautiful poems, all of these beautiful stories, all of this beautiful art, and I always stress like this is what it's about. For those of you out there in the audience, the virtual audience, this is what the vision is to share all this beautiful art, from all across the country, all across this what they call America, North America, South America. Indigenous people all over have all of these beautiful poems and stories to tell. And I'm very blessed that I get to provide a platform for that, to share it with you. And that's the whole idea behind this Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe, is to bring this to you, to share this with you, and to just keep letting you know that we're still here. Native people still, are still around. Indigenous people are still around. We still have art. We still have, our stories. We still have our language, and we still have our ways of healing, through our art, through our words. It's good that we're talking about mental health. And I also want to, um, also talk about sobriety, and how important that is for us as Native people, and in our tribal communities, and in our lives, to kind of, start healing from with all of those things that we deal with, and poetry and art is one of those ways, that we could do it. And like I said, the Red Excellence movement is out there. That's one way that you can see and share. If you submit some work, some poems, hit us up, Indigenous Art Alliance at gmail.com. Share that with your people. If you know somebody, hopefully we can, inspire young people, inspire the youth, the Native youth in our tribal communities, and our relatives, to aspire to be, what that idea is of red excellence. Because we need more of that. We need more of uplifting each other. We need more of supporting each other, one another, in whatever we're doing. Whether we're going to school, whether we're just being in our communities, trying to learn our ways, trying to learn our language. You know, um, if we did fall and we did stumble along the way, let's help each other up, instead of, trying to knock each other down, and keep each other down, and it's time that we start thinking about those things, because, as we know, life is short. Life is, we're not promised tomorrow. And, you know, um, we're against a lot of things as Native people. So, it's time that we just start uplifting each other and supporting each other, and, trying to change that narrative, that we've had to, be a part of for so long, you know watching each other tear each other down and things like that. So, yeah, I just want to always, those of you who know me know I'm always trying to uplift Native people and trying to inspire, um, you know, to do better. And, you know, that's that's one way I can do that, is by sharing and curating these art and these stories, and trying to put that out there. So, we can all see that, it is possible. It is possible to change our lives, to make our lives better, to live positive, healthy lifestyles. And, the idea of red excellence is what it's all about. So, definitely check that out, share. And again, thank you for supporting the Indigenous Peoples Art Gallery and Cafe. Um, Thanks to our poets tonight. Definitely, was an honor to hear your poems, to hear your artwork. Um, we'll definitely post their information on the page, so you can, find out more about them, and uh, keep up with them, and see what they got coming up in the future. Hopefully, we can bring them to do a live performance down the road somewhere. I always tell people who come on the show, like, yeah, that's what this is about, and um, and just giving the people that experience, our non-native relatives, those people who may be thinking about becoming poets and writers who are like, I don't know if I can do it. Here's examples. Everybody who's done the show, there's a lot of examples of you can do it. It's possible. And if you want to come on the show, reach out to me through Facebook or email Indigenous Art Alliance@gmail.com, and we'll definitely give you a platform, a virtual stage to show your work. So again, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in tonight. Tune in next week. We got some more poets coming on, and so a lot of great shows coming up. So I just want to say thank you all, and yeah, thank you to our poets and our writers. With that, good night.